Recording in progress. All right, there you go. All right, well, let's get started. Thank you, ladies, for coming along. Um, Everybody knows who I am, so I'm not going to go through the drivel of introducing myself. And everybody knows who I am for the people who are watching this on a replay or recording after the fact. Tonight is just a an orientation session. It is really just to show you around Practice Better because it's not always intuitive, should we say? And for me, I use it as from the back end. I've got lots of support to be able to tell me which buttons to push, but I don't know that actually what gets sent out to you guys is as clear. So I've got another account and I'm going to open that up, but I'm not used to looking at that. So I'm just going to be poking around like a crazy monkey and showing you on the screens what that looks like. So that's part of it. Can I just get you to um, write in the chat for me, if I can get you chatting, and just so that I can see that it's working? Because if you have any questions, hi. If you have any questions or if there's anything that comes up and you want to share, just put an S into the chat. If you've got a question, you can either type it into the chat or you can put a Q, and then I will bring you off mute. And you can ask the question. There's only a few of us, so it shouldn't be a big deal. It's not like we've got 50 people. All right. Kia ora from New Zealand. So Janelle, you've got J as your name up there. Is that your preferred?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Just checking. Just checking. All good. All right. So first up, um, everybody who is doing the program are at different stages and phases of the program. So I've got people who have done Metabolic Balance and Renew Her Vitality previously, and they've already gone through the program, and I've invited them back to be part of this group program so that they can kind of do a bit of a refresh for their plan. But we've also got some people who have not done metabolic balance, who are still waiting for their blood tests, and in various stages in between. So this is self-paced. What we will do is meet on a fortnightly basis where you can ask the questions and say, hey, I've been doing this and it's not working, or, this is what I found is really helpful, and we'll start having a bit of a group share and follow-up sessions. And those will essentially be like your consults, your appointments with me, but they're just going to be there'll be group sessions, and that's really because I find that people ask the same questions and I have the same answers over and over again. So it's just easier for me to be able to do that with people all at once. The other thing is that we'll be using Practice Better as the program tool that will send things out. We've already hit a glitch because it was supposed to fire everything off at 9 o'clock this morning. Because I've been working in a different computer, I had no idea that it didn't actually do that. And so I've been crazily manually releasing things in the background. So all of these emails that you've got popping up is because I've been hitting buttons in the background. So I'm not sure what's happened. I think I've set it up properly, but bear with me. If there's problems, ask the question. I'll get it fixed or find somebody who can fix it for us. But I've never run it in Practice Better. I've run programs through Practice Better previously. I haven't done this one. They're always upgrading systems and updating things. And I think that there's been some sort of update that I probably got the email on and didn't read because I'm like everybody, there's lots going on. My brain capacity is kind of about that big. So we'll be using Practice Better. So the key thing for me around using Practice Better is that we will be talking about, health stuff and clinical stuff. So when it comes to sending messages to me, you can either use the group chat, because again, it might be a generic question or a generic sort of share. And so you can use the group chat, or you can go in and you can actually send me a private message, which Obviously, if it's a private conversation that you want to have, you can do it that way. But the system has been approved by I think it's the UK, Canada, the US, New Zealand, Australia, and a whole bunch of other places. It meets all of the safety and privacy criteria for us to be exchanging like medical and personal information. So that's why my preference is because with a lot of people, I have relationships outside of this tool, and so it's like for anything to do with the program or with the metabolic balance, then let's keep the communications to practice better. All right. Do we have any questions? No? Fabulous. Now let's see if I can get this to share. Yes, I can. Desktop 1. Okay. Nope, it's not sharing. It's sharing me. Stop sharing. Wow.
That was sharing.
It was? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It looked like it was showing me.
No, 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 no. That was sharing.
All right. Desktop 1. Oh, I can see it. Yep. Here we go. All right. Thanks, Chris. It's fine. That's because
Yeah.
my
I can see
view,
that.
my view is different. Show meeting. All right. Now I can see you. I can see you guys and share. All right. So let's start. Let's go back to home. So when you go into Practice Better, and I'm showing you the desktop, not the phone version, which is a whole different set of fun and games. But on the desktop version, you will be able to log in, and this is what you will see. It'll be your dashboard. Now, the way to get back to the dashboard after you've clicked on all the buttons is just to come back to home. In here, there is a journal tool that you can go into and start to track your meals. Now, you don't have to do that, but I find that it can be helpful in terms of tracking, your mood and any symptoms or anything like that. And so you can either do just the food and mood, you can do lifestyle, and if you choose to do your food and mood, I can actually go in and do some analysis and say, well, are you getting enough protein? Are you eating enough of what have you? So that is a handy dandy tool that you can go in and use if you want to. All the programs that you might be signed into will be here in programs. And so you can go in and have a look at the modules. The other place that you can find that is here under my programs. So if we click onto that, those are the modules that have been released. I'll continue to load more in there. And release those as we go through. I didn't want to give you access to everything. The reason for that is there is going to be a lot of information, and if it all comes at you at once, it can be really overwhelming. So for the first couple of weeks, all we really want to do is get comfortable with using Practice Better and get comfortable with what your program's got in it in terms of the food and the framework and the creating of the meals in the first 2 phases, which we'll touch on today. So if we go into the program overview, what you get is your 3 one-on-one sessions. Now, Carla, because you've got a historical one, you have a couple more extras. But there'll be your one-on-one sessions. So for everybody here, we've already done the first comprehensive one. And then the second one is to go through your plan presentation. And then the third one is flexible, and you can use that if you need deeper support outside of those group sessions. I would actually recommend that you put it towards the end when we start going into phase 3, about 2/3 of the way down at the end of the program, just because that's when stuff shifts in terms of what we'll be doing from there. We have our interactive sessions, which will essentially be like this. except I'm hoping that you guys will be doing most of the talking in those ones. And then there'll be some masterclass sessions. So they won't be live, they're going to be recorded. They'll be available for you to watch on demand. That way you, again, aren't having to be somewhere at a certain day, at a certain time. There's really only those 6 sessions that you want to try and come on to live. There will also be lots of handouts, ebooks, and support material. You can consume as much of that as you want to, but it's really there to help you go through the process, or go through the program. Now, Renew Her Vitality is a program that's, yes, it's got the metabolic balance, the weight management and that side of things, but it's also a general health program for midlife women's health. So there will be information about, hormones, metabolic syndrome. What are some of the other things that I've got in there? It's all gone out of my head. Body composition and things like that. And essentially just saying, why do we need to, everybody's saying you've got to eat more protein, you've got to do strenuous lifting, you've got to do this, that, and the other thing. And so I'll be providing more information about that to help you understand the why behind the recommendations that are coming at you from all directions. Some of them are valid, some of them are just wellness wankery. Yes. If there's any myth busting, anything like that you are interested in finding out more about, then ask the question, because we can always add content to this program. It's your program. Let's make it work for you. There's a private community space. So now let's just see if this is going to work. There you go. So we've got a spot where we can go in and create messages that comes to everybody. I've thrown one in there that says, let's introduce ourselves. What's your name? Why are you joining? Tell me a little bit about you. And then it's pretty much like Facebook. You can just go in there and add pictures and do whatever and, make your comments. So a lot of people like WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is just this running thing of messages if this keeps them contained. So that's why, again, I'm sticking with Practice Better. All right, home, Renew Her Vitality, back to orientation week. So there's a lot of steps to get through, and again, it can be a little overwhelming, particularly if you're kind of doing them all at once. So if it's, if you're having an interview, having the first session, and then I say, okay, now you've got to go and do this, and you go and do it, and then you come back, and then we go, oh, and this will be next. Then it's much easier, and that's pretty much how it goes, from a one-on-one perspective. When we're doing it like this, and you've got to download apps, you've got to get your blood tests, you've got to, set up your one-on-one sessions, all of that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, I don't know where I'm at or what I've got to do next. So I've created a bit of an onboarding roadmap that shows you what we'll be, going through as that first step. So the health assessment, which is the first one-on-one, you pay your bill, you get access to the app, you make sure that you do your blood tests. We hold our breath and put our, cross our fingers that the doctors actually give us the pathology that we asked for, because that doesn't always happen. And then we have our second one-on-one, which is where we actually go through the nutrition plan. So then we have the orientation session. So you are here, that's going to be recorded. And then you get access to all the material, which I've now just released. And then you can start journaling. You can set up your one-on-one session if you want to, the third session. And then we've got our group coaching calls. So that's just a little bit more about Practice Better, and obviously a little bit of encouragement. You will get out of this program as much as you put into it. You've got 12 weeks of a nutritionist on tap and a clinically designed nutritional prescription that's been set up for your body. So let's make the most out of that, and touch base for help when you need it. We want to make sure that you get everything that you need out of it. Any questions? Carla's pushing buttons. I'm assuming that you are trying to ask the question.
I'm trying to unmute myself because I oriented the phone the other way. It didn't want to do that. So do you recommend, so what you're showing here, that's the desktop version as opposed to the app, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we should look at the desktop version as
Have a
well
look at the
as
desktop version. It's
okay.
I find it easier. I find it easier to use. I mean I use the app for to send stuff or to respond to people. If I'm on the run, I will use that. But if I'm doing anything for any length of time, and most of these modules now are just they're reading modules. There's no tasks or anything involved in this. So there's not a lot of doing other than reading and asking questions, really, from a program perspective. So it's not like although, there is merit in some of the tasks. One of the ones that popped up for me was it's like clean out the cupboards. Well, that's great if you live by yourself, but if you've got a family, you can't clean out the cupboards. So I didn't put any of those kind of things in there. So it really is, Carla, you should be able to open it up and be able to just read the content. There shouldn't be a problem with that. So when I present your plan, and of this conversation, Chris is the only person who will have seen her plan. When I present the plan, it comes with a whole raft of information. I've taken that, I've condensed it, and I've put it into here. What I find with that is that it is like 46 pages of overwhelm and words. When I got it, I kind of looked at it and went, oh, and I think it's page 13 or 14 that I actually printed that out, stuck that on my fridge and went, that's all I really need. Everything else is just, so you can read through it. All I've done here is I've broken those down into smaller component parts so that if you're looking for something, this is probably going to be an easier place to find information about these things around the preparation, the reset, so on and so forth, than trying to open up the document, the ebook that you get, the PDF, and trying to sort of flick through that. That's designed by the Metabolic Balance people. And so I can't change the content. So I've done it here. But essentially what happens is we've got 4 phases. The 2 phases that we're going to go through tonight is the preparation and the digestive reset and the strict conversion phase. Did you start yours, Chris?
I'm on day 4 now.
How are you going?
It's too much food. I'm really struggling to eat the food.
Are you?
I'm just so full, and it's like you're just shoving food down, and it's like, oh.
Wow, that's interesting. So you're not hungry and you don't want snacks.
I don't even want the meal. It's like I can't eat again, like for God's sake. So
yeah. Okay.
So
Interesting.
after this call, I've got to have my dinner, and it's like I'm still full from breakfast, let alone lunch. I shoved lunch down. Now I've got to have dinner, and it's like, oh, it's just way too much food.
Okay. Interesting. Well, we might have a conversation about that. I'll touch base with you, because it can be signs of other things, right? If your digestive enzymes aren't working well, then it feels like too much. And if it's heavy, if it's sitting heavy, and like you can go to 80% and still be really full without eating the whole meal, then possibly we need to look at some digestive enzymes or something like that. Maybe start with just having a little bit of apple cider vinegar before the meal. In water, diluted in water. See how that goes, and then we can, So those are the types of things where, there are ways that we can tweak it and start to warm your digestion up, because sometimes the fire goes out. So we want to.
Yeah, wow. Chris, is it because it's different sort of food, or is it just more than you normally eat?
I normally only have 2 small meals a day. and now I'm having three, so it's too
Wow.
much. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Interesting.
and plus because you've got the vegetables. There's a lot of food there to eat, so
Mm.
Mm. I
you
think,
Wow.
can't just
Okay.
have a little bit of ricotta on toast or something. You actually have a full meal, and it's too much for me. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
Well,
it might be just like ML's just said, it's like my digestive system is like it's fucked. So it's definitely
yeah,
me,
we've got to light
not
the
the
fire.
program.
We've got to light the fire, and
Yeah,
get that
yeah,
metabolism. And that's the whole point of it, right? It's a
yeah,
metabolic reset. So we want to get
yeah,
everything
yeah,
working. Okay,
yeah.
that's good. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing. Um, I have actually had people tell me that it's too much food. Um,
Oh, and so it's not just me. That's good.
no,
Yeah.
it's not just you. And the some people are still hungry, which is when we
Oh,
might
okay.
tweak and add a
Yeah,
bit in, and then you've got other people where it's not enough food. My thing was just there's enough food here. I thought that I would be really restricted and that I would be,
no,
hungry and
yeah,
wanting snacky things in between. And
no,
that's not the case.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
So,
And I was a little bit concerned when I sort of read through, and it's like as you progress, you add more food. It's like, what? No, like I
I
can't be
can't
like
cope with what I've
stuffing
got
it down.
now. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Look, by the time we get to phase 3 and 4, we
Hopefully,
are,
my digestive system's fixed by then, and then it
yes.
won't be a problem.
Yeah, that's right. So, Um, yeah. And
Yeah,
like I said, it's not a diet, it's a nutritional prescription. And when you think
yeah,
about it as a nutritional prescription, you just kind of it's like, well, I don't like having to take the 12 pills that the doctor gave me, but I take them because it's fixing something. And so this is the
yeah,
same thing. It's just that it's food. Not that
yeah.
saying that Chris is taking 12 pills of anything, but anyway. So so the first
No,
well,
it's all good. It's all good apart from that.
yeah, so you're full. All right. Um, okay, so we're just going to quickly touch on what's the time? Yep, we just quickly touch on phase 1 and phase 2. So phase 1 is essentially digestive cleansing, and it's a preparation phase. So when we go through and we start changing your diet, rather than just saying, well, don't eat what you eat today and now eat all of this, we have a couple of days where we actually prepare the digestive system by giving it a bit of a clean out. Now, it's only food, but we do add occasionally some magnesium citrate or some psyllium husk or some vitamin C. I am a huge fan of colonic hydrotherapy. I know that some people don't like it, but actually going and having a colonic over those first couple of days or in the first couple of weeks can be beneficial. But if you haven't done that before and that's just too pushing the friendship a little bit too far, then you don't have to do it. But again, it's a really good way to, because essentially what we want to do on the first 2 days is it's a food version of, when you go in to have a colonoscopy, they clean everything out. And so, you've got to take that horrible tasting drink that kind of gets everything going so that they can actually have a look at your colon and your bowel. So this is not quite as extreme as that, but what we want to do is take away all of the things that could stimulate your digestion to want the snacks or to react to the food that's coming through. So there's just 2 days where you essentially, if you have breakfast, so I told Chris she had to have breakfast. You essentially have half your normal breakfast. So if you usually have, a couple of eggs or 2 Weet Bix or whatever, you have half that amount, no coffee, no juice, only water. And then for lunch, you can have a vegetable soup or veggies. Essentially, for 2 days, you eat vegetables, only
Mm.
vegetables. They don't have to be the vegetables that are on your plan, it's just vegetables. And what I did was essentially measure out 1.5 kgs of vegetables, and it gives you all that information in there and in your pack. I measured out 1.5 kg of vegetables per day, so 3 kilos of veggies, and chopped them all up, turned them into a vegetable soup, which was kind of, and you can use herbs and spices and things. So I made, and I will do this reset for myself every now and again. I can feel when I need a bit of a clean out, and so I'll do the reset for it just over the weekend. And so, yeah, I just make up a big thing of soup, really nice, tasty soup, and and make it like a chowder. So I give it a kind of a half blend, and then I just have that for 6 meals with some extra magnesium. I put them back up there. I have. A moment, please. Just with some magnesium citrate, which you can get from just sort of, yeah, which you can get from the chemist. I can find you the brand Carla that we have here that you can get. I think it's like, was it $10 from the Chemist Warehouse, and it's just magnesium citrate. And I will find out for you, Jay, what you can grab to help with that when you're doing that. But yeah, so that's it, 2 days. And so you take the magnesium citrate on the Friday. If you're going to do it on the weekend, say you take it on the Friday night, you take it on the Saturday morning, and then one at lunch. And essentially what you're doing is you're overdosing with magnesium. And magnesium draws, which is not a bad thing. And certainly for most people, they're so deficient in magnesium, or their adrenals are so screaming out for support that it gets used up and absorbed. But what happens is magnesium draws moisture into the bowel, and so when you have a like hyperdose of it, it softens everything up. So you drink plenty of water, have your magnesium over 3 sessions, and then you should have a good release. If you feel like you could probably go again, or you need to go again, then again you could have it for breakfast and lunch the next day, and that will help with your clean out. But you'll know after the first day if 3 have been enough. And then you can just keep taking these one a day. Like if there's 28 in a packet, you do the super dosing in the first week, and then the magnesium's fine to take, and probably for most people, because they're under a lot of stress, to continue to take that. So that's prep phase. So that's simple. It's 2 days. What did you end up doing, Chris?
Yeah, I did the soup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. I put all sorts in, whatever was in the sort of fridge. I just used everything up. So there was parsnips and carrots and pumpkin and sweet potato and broccoli, and the whole lot just went in. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
What have I done? Oh, complete. So that's the other thing, is you can actually go in and you can hit the complete button, so you can keep track of what you've read as you go through them. So the next thing is, how we're going for time. Oh, we're doing all right. Good now. The next thing is, and this is foundational, and this at the end of the program is kind of the thing that you take forward to help maintain your metabolism. But this is a big part of the reset. And so there are 8 rules. Now, Metabolic Balance was designed by a German doctor, his naturopathic sister, and his nutritionist wife. And so, being German, they have rules, not principles. And there's a lot of stuff that sort of comes with this that is very Germanic in its approach. So I try and change the language where I can, which is why I've called them the principles and not the rules, but you will see in their documentation. So this starts after the cleanse phase. So when you hit phase 2, and it's And then it just continues on forever and ever in a day. So here's the rules. You want to eat exactly 3 meals a day. And so if you are not currently eating 3 meals a day, this could already feel a bit like, oh. But what I would suggest is that you start with the lighter of the meal options that you are given, so that again, you can start to, warm your digestion up. We want to maintain a minimum of 5 hours break between a meal. And so what this does is it allows for the insulin levels to drop in between time, which promotes fat burning and reduces inflammation. So a lot of what we eat, whilst it may not be unhealthy, can often be driving high levels of insulin, which causes chronic low-grade inflammation, which is where we get the aches and the pains and the all of the and the tired. And then it can also insulin is a hormone that basically is like the doorman who opens the door so that nutrients can get into the cells. And so we are in fat storage mode, not fat burning mode, when insulin is circulating in our system. So we want to reduce the amount of time that happens. So that's why we have those 5 hour breaks. And then an overnight fast, so having a 6 o'clock dinner and then not having, breakfast until maybe 8 o'clock, a couple of times a week is also really is going to help boost that metabolic reset. We want to keep meals to under 60 minutes. So you think that sounds easy, but if you are guilty of eating at your desk like I do over lunchtime, where you are shoveling a couple of mouthfuls in and then you do a bit of work and then you shovel a bit of mouthful in, what you can find is that you end up, it could take an hour and a half to actually consume lunch. So you better to stop, eat your lunch, which actually the eating part of lunch usually only takes about 15 minutes, if that. Eat your lunch and then go back to what you were doing. And the reason that we want to do that is, again, we don't want to prolong the amount of time that insulin is being released, which is going to happen when we're eating our food. So we want to keep those time bounds, which helps to also regulate your appetite. Start each meal with protein. So essentially take a couple of bites of whatever the protein is on your plan, and on your meal, I should say. And what that does is, again, it releases a hormone that blocks insulin. So insulin will come and do its job, but it's not rushing in there going, all right, everybody else out of the way. I've got to deal with all of this first. So, so we just simply start eating our meal with protein, which again is easier said than done. We realize that we start every meal with our vegetables, which is actually not as bad as starting with your potatoes or your rice or your pasta or whatever, which nobody gets that on there. Actually, that's not true. You have potatoes, Carla, on your plan, but you have to eat them with eggs. There's a little combo thing. Thanks for that. Anyway, I'll take you through yours later.
I freaking hate eggs. I hope there's options around how they're served. As long as they're not runny.
No.
It'll be okay.
There are options. You have control.
Potato and eggs. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can give you some
color. I love eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I can't believe
Okay.
I've been restricted to a number a week. It's like, what?
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
love
you
my
can
eggs.
have them. And I have chooks, Chris, and so they're in
Oh,
lay
really?
season at the
Oh,
moment.
God.
So they're laying about 5 a day at the moment.
Oh,
So
I'd be in my element if I was in your house.
cackleberries. Sometimes she brings the
Cackleberries.
cackleberries down off the mountain for us, which is nice.
They've been on strike for a very long time, so it's great to see them back in lay. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
good. So
Well, I had
yes,
an eggy frittata for dinner last night. I didn't even know I was doing the right thing.
there you go. That's it. So yeah, think Spanish. Egg. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing is that you only have one protein per meal. So you'll see that you get a list of all the proteins and a list of all the vegetables and a list of all of the fats and what have you. And that's prescribed, so nobody's list is the same. You may have some same things on there, but everybody's lists are different. And so when you're having a single protein, essentially it's like, well, if poultry is the option, then you would just have the poultry. You wouldn't also have poultry with vegetables and ricotta cheese, because ricotta is considered to be a protein, right? So you're not, yeah, because it's dairy. Um, if you were having a sandwich and you're having, say, ham, lettuce, tomato, you wouldn't put cheese on your sandwich because that's starting to mix the protein. So that's what it means by you just have one. The other thing is you get a selection of proteins, and what we want you to do is choose from all the different protein groups throughout the week. So we want variety. So all the things that have been put on there, again, have been prescribed. It's not like, here's a selection of things that you might like to eat, and you just say, well, there's 3 things, I'm just going to eat the same things for the entire 12 weeks. We actually want, they've been chosen for their nutritional qualities, and so we want you to try as much as you possibly can to kind of mix it up. So one protein, and avoid eating after 9 p.m. So we want to, again, it's all part of that restricted time eating window. But the later you eat, the more it's going to affect your sleep, your digestion, and any overnight cleansing and detoxification and lymphatic work. So that's when your brain is actually clearing out all of the toxins from the day. So that kicks in at around about 10:30 once your cycle is and when I talk about cycle to women, I actually mean your diurnal cycle, not your menarche.
Sure.
Yeah. So yes, and whilst it's part of another part of the program, with this, I would also say you want to be starting to wind down and in bed by 10:30. Yeah, because again, that circadian rhythm is going to be sending messages to your body, and it's a symphony. And what we've got to try and do is short circuit and find out who's playing off key and bring them back in to harmony. So you get an allocation of water. It's a minimum, and it's basically worked out on 35 mils of water per kilogram of body weight. And so that for me means that I need, I think I'm drinking about 3 and a bit of those a day as a minimum. On days that it's particularly hot and sweaty, or if I've been to the gym and working out, then I'll up the ante on that. And so some people really struggle to get the water in, and then have no problems getting the water out. And so I also recommend to people, you want to front load your water and drink as much of it as you can at the front end of the day, because otherwise you're waking up all night having to go to the toilet and have a wee. And so the other thing is it's water. If you're going to have tea or coffee, which you can have, and we'll go into that in your plan, then that doesn't count as some of your liquid. The water allocation is just your water allocation. Any other fluids that you have outside of that is outside of that. And then you eat 1 apple a day. So I've actually got a handout that says why 1 apple a day, and I'm going to upload it into the system so that you can go in and have a bit of a read about it if you want to. But most people get 2 or 3 serves of fruit a day. I've never seen a 1. And so one of those serves of fruit is an apple, and you can have it either. So sometimes I will grate it into my breakfast, or I will grate it into my salad or chop it up into the salad. And sometimes Carla, you'll notice that I wander around the office just eating apples after lunch. That's what that's all about. I'm making sure I'm getting my apple a day.
Nice, very nice. An apple a day is delicious.
Yeah. And so I'll just go into the strict conversion phase and just go through this, and then I'll leave you guys to read the rest of it. And if you've got any questions, you can just put them in the group chat afterwards. But have you got any questions about the rules? No? Good. Okay. So the phase 2 has two parts. A and B is what I like to call them. There's the strict conversion phase with no oils, which is the first part, and then we introduce the oils a little bit further down the track. And so the goal of phase 2 is really where the reset happens. This is where we are getting your, I guess, your digestive fire turned on. It's where we are turning off the insulin, or turning down, I should say. We're not turning it off. We want to turn down those insulin spikes. It's where we are upping the nutrients that's coming into the system, because and even as a nutritionist, when I did mine, I could feel that I was actually feeding myself better than what I normally did. And I had a pretty good diet. Like, at the end of the day, I do tend to walk the talk. But the thing that I noticed was how little food I needed. So mine didn't give me too much food. It felt like it was not enough. Certainly when I looked at it on the plate, I was like, I'm going to disappear into nothing. And I was really surprised at how the foods that had been chosen basically satiated me and how little I needed. And also the other thing that happened was my taste buds seemed to kick in. I could taste the food again, because we tend to cook with lots of, sauces and things like that. And it's, I think, after a while, even though it's not highly processed food, it's really highly palatable food. And so I just stripped everything back and just found that my taste buds I just appreciated the taste of the food a lot better. So it starts pretty much, you do your first 2 days, you have your cleanse, and then you go straight into your strict conversion phase. It lasts for a minimum of 14 days. If you don't reach your goal in those first 2 weeks, and most people don't, then you will stay in phase 2, and we will just kind of build it out a little bit longer. So you follow those 8 rules. You eat only from your personal food list and in the exact proportions that's given. You don't do any strenuous exercise. Now, that's not to say that you can't go for a walk. So, taking the dogs for a walk, or what you don't want to do is get your heart rate up to kind of over 110, 120 beats per minute. So we just want to have nice, calm, relaxed. Your body is working. It's recalibrating. It's having to come to terms with the change in the food, the change in the timing, all of those things. So we don't want to put any extra stress on it, because, and we'll talk about stress and cortisol and the impact that it has on our metabolism down the track. But this is all, I guess, it's all part of the science. We're all, it's tweaking the dials to make sure that we're getting everything right. So no added fats for the first 14 days. You can use, non-stick cooking pans, steam pots, clay pots, broiling, putting things on the barbecue. Barbecue became a really favorite thing in the first couple of weeks. Or, baking things in the oven. There's lots of ways that we can cook without actually frying things in fat. So, that's not too hard. There is actually handouts and ebooks that have recipes and ideas. And there is a Metabolic Balance book, which I thought I had out ready to show you, that you can get from, there it is. You can get from Big W. Jay, I'll find out where it is in New Zealand. I think you can order it through, I can't remember the name. Sorry, the book. Um,
You
actually,
can
I
get
think
it on Amazon. It's cheaper
Amazon.
than Big W.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. So yeah, so you can get it. They don't
Amazon's
have.
heaps cheaper than Big W.
Was it?
Yeah, it was about $5 cheaper and the postage was cheaper.
Oh, it's fabulous. All right. I don't know that they have Amazon available to them in New Zealand, but I'll find out where you can get it from, Jay, if you so that if you're interested, you can grab that. Or you can do what Chris did and put it into ChatGPT and upload your plan.
Who does the menu for you?
Who will say, and you say, according to the nutritional prescription that I've got here in this plan, I want a 14-day menu that uses blah, 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 blah. You put your prompt in, it reads it all, and it spits it all out for you.
Yeah.
And so, no thinking, no planning. And then the other thing, I guess, Carla and Jay, is that, if you've got a family, you can they can all eat the same foods. There's no restriction on them on how much, and if you want to throw rice and potatoes and all of the other things onto the table, you don't have to be cooking a separate meal. Like the idea again is not to create stress and load onto what you're doing. But we can look at, how do we do this smarter, not harder. The other thing that I do is I bulk cook stuff. So for instance, I'll make a quiche. I can have Well, I've got some weird kind of thing going on with my egg count. I can have seven across, I can have 5 in 1 week or something over 2 weeks. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll just get 4 eggs and I'll make up 4 little eggy pies, and then I'll have two of those. And so I just bake, I'll make those on a Sunday, and then I'll go, okay, well, that can be lunch on Tuesday and lunch on Thursday, or, whatever. And so I will make, over the winter time I was doing it more. I'll make a like a stew, with like lamb stew, and I will measure it out. And so because Darren and I are both on it, I'll measure it out and I'll say, okay, well, that's 4 portions, and just add it all up. And so that's the other way you can do it, is just, do a bit of a cook up and then throw some stuff in the freezer, and then you've got yours. So it doesn't matter what everybody else is eating, you've got yours. So there's ways around, not having to cook for you, cook for them, and, for every meal. Okay. Talked about reintroducing the fats. The type of fats that you can eat will be in your plan. So we'll be able to find that. Some people are really nervous about adding fats back in when we do that, because we've been told in previous lifetimes fat is really bad for you. Fat equals more calories, and so we're told to, avoid putting fats on things. And so we need at least 3 tablespoons of fat. What we find is that people tend to get really dry skin or thirsty. They find that they're drinking more water, because they're dehydrated, and it's actually because they haven't introduced their fats back in. So it is important to be having those. And also because our fat-soluble nutrients need the fats to be able to be absorbed. So that's those, vitamin A, vitamin E, the seleniums, the zincs, those types of things. They need, in order to be vitamin K, in order to be taken into the body and utilized, they need the fat as a carrier. They're not water-based. So there's lots of reasons why we need to add the fats back in. Meal timings. Eat your breakfast as it's outlined, but the recommendations that they've got for dinner and lunch are interchangeable. I will explain that to both of you in more detail when we go through your plans. Gentle movement, we talked about. Going for a walk, maybe 10 or 15 minutes after a meal, will also help to reduce the insulin spike, because your body's able to absorb any glucose directly into the muscles without the need for insulin coming to the party after a meal. So if you think about that very Italian thing that they do, where they eat their food and then they all go for a walk, it's actually really good for you. It's good for your metabolism. So it doesn't have to be a power walk. It's just a get moving.
Could a gentle little, I like to get on the exercise bike very gently. Could that
Yep,
do the same trick?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Vacuum vacuuming is my
Yep.
trick.
Productive,
Get up
productive
and sweep
exercise.
the floor, vacuum clean after putting the dishes away and all of that sort of stuff. It's just movement. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't have to be strenuous. Um, Avoid high stress, tempting social situations. Um, Eventually that gets easier. But for the first couple of weeks while things are really strict, try and avoid that. Um, Surround yourself with supportive people. Tell people what you're doing and why you're doing it if you want to. Like, don't be afraid to share that. And if you feel like they are trying to sabotage you, then just call it out and say, actually, I'm taking my health seriously for whatever reason, or, whatever your response is, and I don't need that. So, just you want the supportive people around you. Um, and then protect your progress. So it's your time to invest in yourself. So do what we need to do. Eat slowly, chew thoroughly, be present. So no doing what I do, which is eating at the desk while I'm working. I actually had to take my laptop in to Apple because it wasn't working properly. And when they took the keyboard out to see why things were jamming, the amount of food that fell out of it was quite embarrassing. It's like, oh, okay. They go, oh, do you eat at your desk? And I'm like, yeah, all the time. I'm like, yeah, because there's like crumbs and bits of stuff in there. So I was like, oh, okay. Um, so this And Chris, you outlined it beautifully before. This phase is about abundance. It's not about restriction. So if you actually have a look at your food diary, your food list, you'll see that there is lots and lots of choices, probably more. It's quite an expansive list. So there's possibly more than you normally would eat because we tend to go for the same things on rotation over and over again. So this is just going to be an opportunity to kind of step outside of that. And this is a foundational piece. Again, those 8 rules. And once we start to, go through this part and introduce other foods and test those for our system, what it is just laying a foundation for what comes afterwards.
The only thing I will say is several of the items on my list, particularly because I don't know anybody else's list, are just not available. You just can't get them anywhere in Australia. If you lived in America, it'd be a different story, but they're just not available. So,
What are some
which
of the
seems a
things
bit strange.
that you've been looking for, Chris?
The veggies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my veggie list is actually quite restricted because quite a few of them are not available
Oh, is that
anywhere.
those fancy lettuces?
Well, it's the fancy lettuces. It's the like small little sort of pepperonis, which is like little mini thing. There's a few different things.
Oh,
It's
okay. Well,
yeah,
I'll have a look at that because what I can do is I can swap those out. I will find I guess the close alternative that we can get you so
yeah,
that it's not so restrictive. That's fine.
yeah,
We can do
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I'll send you the ones that are not
Are weird.
available anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think what was the other thing you had? Pheasant. Did you have pheasant?
Pheasant.
Yours had pheasant on
Got
it.
pheasant. Yeah, got pheasant. Got rabbit. I think you can get rabbit.
Wow.
Uh,
You probably could have when you were down in Melbourne. You would have got rabbit a lot more easier.
You can get it on the Gold Coast. There's a butcher that sells fresh rabbit. You
Oh,
can
okay.
get sort of rabbit
Yum.
and
I
bacon,
do like rabbit. How do you have to
but
cook your rabbit,
that's not
Chris?
till. Sorry,
How do you have to cook it? Because it can be very dry rabbit if it's not,
You'd
wrapped in
braise it.
oils, basically.
You'd braise it.
yeah. So the rabbit's not
Mm,
till the next phase,
Phase.
and then oils are back in. So it's
right.
easy to make a stew out of rabbit.
Yeah,
We
Mm.
used
yum.
to eat
Oh, my
rabbit when
mouth's
I was a
watering.
kid, all
Mm,
the time. It's really lovely. But
I
yeah,
love
so
rabbit.
pheasant.
Yum.
Yeah. So pheasant you can't find, but I'll send you the ones that are. And I shop at the farmers market,
Yeah, so you should be able to. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she went, "You're not going to get any of that."
Wow.
All right. Well, we'll have a look at that. Okay.
Pheasant, would that, I mean, could you, I wonder if you could swap that out for duck, or is it just too different?
No.
Too different.
No,
Yeah, wow.
I'll send the list to ML. Like it's not like
Yeah.
a big thing, but it's silly to have all your
Yeah.
veggies limited because they're just not available. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool because I'll also go back and provide that feedback to the MB people because the,
Oh, good.
the,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
plans are supposed to be based on what we've got here. And so
Yeah.
I haven't had that before,
Yeah.
where I think the one that surprised me, you had it on yours and Darren had it on his, but it wasn't on mine. I had lamb, he had mutton. And it's
Oh,
like,
Yeah, I've got mutton on mine as well. Yeah.
yeah. And
But
so,
mutton, I you can get mutton here
oh, can you?
really? Where do you get mutton?
on the Gold Coast. Are you on the whereabouts are you based,
No, I'm
Carl?
in Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Ah,
Mm,
yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
So yes, so
I
you
imagine mutton's easy in New Zealand.
yeah.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
don't
We can
have any
send it
problem.
over, Jay. Send it over by the truckload.
You can start shipping it over in large
Yeah, there's a
quantities.
business idea for you
Yeah,
right
100
there.
Australians. All right. Okay, so I'm going to let you go through and have a look at the rest of those. Those are the two things that the key things that I wanted to go through today, and to kind of kickstart that. We will we will get your plan sorted. Carly, you need to book in a time with
Will
me,
do.
and then Jay, once you've got your stuff back from the doc, we can go through and get you all set up too. Once I get those blood tests, it doesn't take long. I input
Right.
it, I literally hit a button, and it produces the plan for me. So,
Fantastic.
unless there's something horribly wrong, you
Um,
get your plan.
ML, going back to that sort of, a stressful social situation scenario, how's that for alliteration? I've got a couple of things coming up for my daughter's graduation in the first week of October. Would you recommend I almost defer the kickoff until I've had a couple of those functions and then go? Because that'll be, I imagine, right in the midst of my kickoff and trying to be good.
So if we say, for instance, we give you your plan, let me have a look at the timings.
Because today
Hey
is what, the
guys, I'm gonna
24th?
drop
No,
because I have to
that's
go and
fine.
cook my dinner
Thanks, Chris.
Enjoy, Chris.
and shove it down my throat.
Make yourself eat that food.
Have a little bit of
Nice to meet you.
apple cider vinegar and water
Yeah,
before your meal.
before.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right.
See you
Thank
Thanks,
guys.
you.
Chris.
Bye.
See you later. Yeah, let's have a
Bye.
look at that. Let's have a look at those dates, Carla,
Hello.
and we can see when's a good time because part of this
Oh,
is actually getting that set up right in terms of when's the good date. And
yeah,
so some people get their plan and they literally go out, do their shopping, come back and say tomorrow's the
go.
day.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I was the same. I kind of went, actually look at that's when I'm going to start. So I'll do the cleanse phase on this weekend and then on Monday. And then it gave me time to do the shopping, do the planning, the meal planning, all of that sort of stuff. And then
yeah,
with
right. Yeah.
Darren and I because we did them together, we had two different food lists. We then sat there and went, well, what are the things that we've both got that can be some staples? And then what are
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
things that are different that we might eat at like lunch where I can pre-cook it and because we're working separately.
Yep.
Those are the meals that we don't eat together and the meals that we eat together. How many of those can we actually combine? So we like sat down and kind of mapped it all out and yeah,
Very good.
it
Okay.
kind of helps that we're both like, project managing kind of things. Problem solving. But yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right.
Yeah, so we have a look at your calendar and see what works for
Yeah,
you.
it's the that weekend of the 9th of October or something. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, cool.
a
All
couple of
right.
events in a row. Yeah. The joy of graduation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exciting times.
Yes, it will be.
Have you got any
Lovely.
questions, Jay?
No, I'm probably thinking just around the timing thing as well. We've just kicked into Waka season,
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
signed up for a few competitions. So a
Oh,
heap of
okay.
strenuous exercise pieces.
Yeah, how do you make
Just
that
trying to
work?
think that through. But yeah,
All
I'll
right.
go away and have a think and just find some timings and
Yep.
think what it might look like.
I'm trying to think of, it just depends on how the training, look, at the beginning of the season, it tends to be,
Sprint training.
yeah,
But
no, it's not. So it's outrigger, the colour.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Waka training was.
Yeah, so waka
oh, sorry.
armor. Waka is a canoe, but
Yeah.
it's a vehicle. So we refer to our cars as a waka as well because it's the thing that we use to get from A to B, right?
Oh,
So yeah,
lovely.
yeah. So waka armor is the paddling. So
Outrigger.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's
So I'll go away and have a wee think and look at timings for
yeah,
Yeah. Because that's physical,
it's
hugely
very
physical.
physical. It's
Mm.
it's great.
yeah.
That doesn't fit into the non-strenuous exercise
No, it
bucket,
doesn't.
I
No,
suggest.
no. That doesn't fit
No.
into the non-strenuous, and yours probably, some of your upcoming things probably don't fit into the low stress. So we all have our crosses to bear, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
I think the
worries.
cortisol thing will be great to get that under control.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
vitamin C and that magnesium. So vitamin C is stored. The only place the body stores vitamin C is in the adrenal glands. So that's an indication of how important vitamin C is for our nervous system. And if we are under a lot of pressure. So you want to be making sure that you're getting plenty of vitamin C, either through your fruit and vegetables. So you'll be getting heaps while you're on the program, but until then, maybe getting some, there's a Melrose vitamin B powder and just drinking that, having 1 teaspoon in water 3 times a day would be what I would be recommending.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could probably have up to 5 teaspoons in water across the day. If you find that makes you go to the toilet, just back it off by 1 teaspoon. So we talk about to bowel tolerance when we're super dosing with vitamin C. It's actually it's the alternative too. It's one of the alternatives to having the mag citrate is to actually super dose on the vitamin C as well, because it will again, it will draw moisture into the bowel and get everything moving, and not in a, well, if you have too much at once it will be quite explosive, but it's gentle. It just softens everything up and gets it going. But yeah.
Very nice. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, it's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. It won't be
Lovely.
challenging.
Thank
It's
you.
abundance. This is a time of abundance.
Abundance and non-challenging. That's right. I need to change my mindset.
All right, ladies.
I'm sorry
Thank
if I was
you.
making you all a bit seasick before as I moved around. So I'm going to load this onto my iPad so it's a little more stable and try to do it on my phone. So I'll do that next time.
No worries. All right. Take
Thank you.
care.
Nice to meet you, Jay. Thanks.
I'll talk to you
Bye,
soon.
Isabel.
Bye.
Bye.